Welcome to the Stories That Shape Us, where we have conversations about how discovering your identity, enhancing your relationships, and taking risks lead to a more purposeful life. I'm Tina Morales, and I'm an associate professional counselor and master's level marriage and family therapist. In my counseling practice, I help couples move from conflict to connection so they can start to live out their relationship vision.
I'm Kiera Johnson, and I own ATL Pula Wellness Studio with the vision of giving every family the hope and freedom to live a healthier life. Through our work, we create spaces and provide resources that foster true well-being.
We came together to bring you these stories so you can collect tools and insights from those who have stepped into their power and are making an impact. Join us on the road less traveled. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Stories That Shape Us. We are your hosts. I am Tina Morales.
I'm Kiera Johnson.
And today we have the amazing opportunity to be joined by the beautiful and the one and onlys, Lauren and Melanie. Thank you guys for being here today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so happy to be here.
How are you guys doing today?
Great.
We're ready. They're like, we're ready to just jump in. Let's do it.
I want to start off with a short bio. Lauren Gall and Melanie Ammerman founded VaVa Virtual Assistants over 10 years ago with the goal of helping small business owners achieve work-life balance and focus on the work they love. Through their mission, they have stood side by side with entrepreneurs as they accomplish many of their goals and watch their businesses reach new growth targets. Sharing in those experiences, not only the wins, but the challenges as well, has offered them a unique perspective of how to succeed no matter the client or circumstances. They are here today to share how they stumbled on and then ironed out their proven process. Y'all are amazing. You know, I'm a big fan. So I'm just happy to have y'all doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah, I love that bio, first of all. Like, that in and of itself is already a story. So I can't wait to jump in.
It's always interesting, like hearing somebody read about you, like while you're sitting there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, I think we want to kick it off with the story of how you two met, and Lauren, we can even lead with you. I know y'all met in Cali. How'd you get to Cali? And then Melanie, how'd you get to Cali? But we'll start with you, Lauren.
Yeah, so I went to Ohio State University. Had to add
Right.
Had to add it. But yeah, so I went to Ohio State, and then right after college, I thought that I wanted to move to California and live the California dream. And so not even a month, or almost a month after I graduated, I moved and started a life out in California, and that's where Melanie and I met through a mutual friend. So
Nice. And then what about you, Melanie? What was your transition to? I guess it's not the Sunshine State. That's Florida. But the other Sunshine State.
It's still fitting. So mine goes back to when I was like 14, 15. I was in band in high school, and our band traveled to Southern California for like a band trip. And I was like, I need to move here. I love it. This is amazing. And so anyway, I was in my early 20s trying to figure myself out. I had already transferred 2 different schools in college, changed my major, was in clinical psychology, and then changed to broadcast journalism. Then went back to clinical psychology. And I was still like, I don't know what I want to do. And I was like, I always want to move out to California. Entertainment also interests me and stuff like that. So when I graduated, I was like, I'm going. And so moved from Chicago to Atlanta when I was 23, and just was trying to figure out what my path was. And met Lauren, like she said, through a mutual friend, and happily started VaVa. So
yeah.
And then that's amazing. First of all, taking the risk to
Right.
just, go to Cali. Yeah.
I have to ask that question, right? Because neither of you are from California. California is such a large state. Did either of you know anyone in California before you decided to make that move?
I did not. No, I just thought I was gonna love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not, but I had a friend that was moving from Chicago to LA about the same time, so like that made it a little easier.
Yep.
But yeah, had to make the connections when I got out there too. So
My goodness.
That's awesome.
Right.
Blind move.
The ability to just say, you know what, I'm going to get up, go from what I'm used to then go to a state where it's completely unfamiliar, but with like hopes and dreams that this is going to be great.
yeah.
I love it.
We got a mutual friend shout out, because that's amazing. And then here y'all are years and years later. So that's really incredible.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys, what was it that that you guys noticed you connected on?
This is like kind of where accidental entrepreneur term comes in, because we both just were, I mean, I was trying to figure it out, like I mentioned, doing odd jobs here and there, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's start a business. I can do this stuff and make extra money. Cool. And Lauren kind of had the same mindset, and so it was just a good match as far as like we both were game to try something new and figure it out. So yeah.
I love it. Lauren, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah, I was gonna say about the same thing. Like, we were accidental, entrepreneurs, and we just like figured it out. And so yeah, it's just like kind of interesting to think back on it. So I was just thinking like about, when we first started and what we decided to do and how we did it. But there was really we had no plan, zero. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, we always tell people, like, that's okay. Like, you don't have to have a plan for everything. Like, you don't have to do, what society tells you to do just because society's doing it, and that's kind of like how VaVa was like birthed.
Oh, I love that.
I actually think that's really encouraging too, that you can kind of like, in a way, fall into something, happen upon it, but then you can grow intentional and strengthen, of course, your partnership. And then here you are years later and having such a successful business. So I think that's actually really encouraging to hear.
Absolutely. I love it because you said there was no plan.
Yeah.
We fell into this. We kind of figured it out as we went. Can you guys share with us what you were doing before you guys stepped into this entrepreneur role? So Melanie, if you don't mind starting, and then Lauren jumping in as well.
Sure. I was doing a lot of different things. Like, I was being in marketing as a brand ambassador. I was a content writer for this online database, I guess. So I like traveled all over to gather information and post out information online. I worked in retail some. I also did extra work for film and dabbled in some writing and improv and stuff like that, which I still love that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I did have a lot of like admin experience. My first job was administrative assistant, and then I had several along the way as well, but nothing like, I was not, besides like a 3-month period in Florida when I was younger, I didn't have like a office 9 to 5. It was kind of like ad hoc here and there, just trucking along, and then going back to school to get my master's, and just trying to learn myself and find what fit well.
Oh, I love that. It's like, it's dabbling in a little bit of everything, like really picking up pieces. And from what I've heard so far, it's really cool to hear how all of that has kind of seeped into what you guys are doing together, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. How about for you, Lauren?
Yeah, I was in sales. My first job really out of college was a first like full-time long-term position was in sales. So it was inbound sales, which gave me the framework for doing like VaVa sales, which was really, really cool. I didn't realize it was setting me up for that. But I'm really thankful for it because I think there's like just different things that you learn in the process that you can take really anywhere you go or to any job that you do. Um, so yeah. But before that, I mean, it was just like retail and fun jobs.
It's like set up, like that's such a neat blend of experiences because, like you said, with virtual assistant work, and in a minute maybe we can share what that is for people who don't know. But like for all that you service for your clients and customers, it seems like with your backgrounds, it probably made it more seamless to do that, which is really neat to hear.
It did, and it's again something that we kind of got lucky in a sense that like we really just balance each other, and her strong suits are a lot of my weaknesses, and so it's like we can come together and cohesively like have a business.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it did help us that we were very open people. Like we were like, as in improv world, yes, and so it was like this door could be an opening to us, and so we were just like, yeah, like let's try it, let's go for it. And we were young, we started VaVa when we were 25, and just like Lauren said, it's really crazy to think about as we are now, but we were both trying to learn ourselves and figure it out, and then we just were open to what was available and what came to us, and then kind of went with it.
Oh,
I love the yes and from improv. Like, yeah, that's awesome. It's a testament like to how that can serve you. I'm sure it's like opened up so many doors along the way too, when you just have that almost that spirit of just staying open like that.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know, can you take a second to explain what virtual assistant work is and a little bit more about what VaVa actually does?
Yeah, so it's like you're an executive assistant, but you are working from your own office. So and you're servicing clients all over. Like, so you're basically just not in the same location. You're in your own like workspace, or like I said, home office or office, performing like back office related activities to clients. So it's usually things that will eventually or take them to the next level in their business. So a lot of the things that you either as a business owner don't want to do, don't have the time to do, or don't have the expertise to do. So scheduling, research, calendar management, travel booking, and then there's like social media and like video editing and content creation and all of the things that again help business owners. They need to do the necessary tasks in order to move their business to the next level, but like don't have the time, because we just found like so often like business owners think they have to do everything themselves, and the truth is like you can become a successful business doing it. Like there's only so much that you can do, and that really limits like how much you can actually grow.
It's so interesting, right? Because I'm also an entrepreneur, and I kind of fell into it as well. Like I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I'm just kind of like, oh, this is entrepreneurship, cool.
Yeah.
But it is so interesting, right? Like recognizing that in the entrepreneurship world, sometimes this idea of doing it on your own is like rewarded. It's almost like this, oh, that looks nice. And it kind of goes into this hustle culture type thing. And I know you guys mentioned that somewhere on your website as I was stalking you guys. But it's really what I love that you guys are kind of pointing to is that we all need help to really be able to grow and to be able to be successful, whatever that means. And I would love to kind of bring that back. Like, how did you guys discover, like, you guys wanted to partner together to do something like this? Because a lot of times we step into entrepreneurship solo. And so I'm so curious, just the partnership, how you guys landed on that, but how you've seen that be a benefit for the two of you. And Melanie, if you're comfortable starting first, and Lauren, you can pick up, or either way, whatever you guys like.
That's a good question. I mean, in our mid 20s, or at least me, I was kind of going along what felt right, and I was trying to just follow like gut instincts, or like what felt like aligned and things like that. So I think when our friend Lindsay Audette with AdLib LA, shout out, when she connected us with it, to do this together, it was it felt like a great match at the time, because like Lauren said, we balance each other out, and we didn't know that necessarily at the time.
Yeah.
But it was like we both somehow knew, or we both at the same time wanted something more than what we were doing at the moment.
Yeah.
And creating something ourselves, or doing something ourselves, like just felt right.
Yeah.
And being in that space where like we both had interest in what we were talking about doing, like really helped. And so I think it just fell into place.
I love that.
I think it's always a good testament to character when you can kind of join together with someone and still have just such a long lasting relationship, and then have so much success. I mean, I think this is a testament how you two go so well together, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Lauren, did you want to add?
It's just interesting, like thinking back to these things, because really there was no structure, but it's totally okay. Like we got there and we're here now, and that's okay. Like I think people oftentimes think they have to have, this and this and this and this and this before they get started. And so all those things that they consider like hurdles or things that they need to get over before they do the next thing, like it's okay not to have all those things like in place or answered before you move forward. So yeah.
There's an aspect of that you guys are talking about, which I think is really important for people to hear, is this aspect of it's okay to trust your gut. It's okay to like do with what feels right, even if it's not like we can prove it with facts, right? Like even if we can't do that, that does not mean that we can't step forward, that we can't take the next step. And I think that's really, really cool that you guys are naming that. And it's a testament of, like she's saying too, like you guys have been in this for how long? 10?
Over 10.
Over 10?
11.
11 years, right? So I love that you guys are naming that, like you can start with what feels right and take the next step, and then you continue to figure it out as you go. I love it.
Yeah, and I would say like it's hard to say there's a strict formula to follow, because there are like guidelines and things that can help along the way. But I mean, it is a lot, or at least for us, it was a lot of intuition, just being like, yeah, that aligns with us and what we're trying to do, and aligns with us personally too. And so like, it felt good, it felt right. And so we just went with it.
Love it.
That's awesome. It's obvious that y'all's relationship has, of course, been pivotal to your growth and success. And have there been other relationships that you can think of, whether professional or personal, that have contributed to where you are, and as you reflect a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my father is somebody that's very pivotal in my life. He is an extreme supporter of anything and everything that I do. Like it literally does not matter what I bring to him and what I bring to the table. And I think that's really, I talk about it because, I mean, I come from a family that's, 9 to 5, I knew one person my whole life pretty much, like that was an entrepreneur. But I didn't really even grasp the concept of like entrepreneurship. And so the idea of being an entrepreneur was very foreign to me, like very foreign.
Yeah.
And I think we live in a day and age now where it's like, entrepreneurship is so much more prevalent. And that's an amazing, amazing accomplishment, because it gives people hope that they can actually do something for themselves. But my father had no idea what I was doing when I was like, we're going to start a business and it's going to be a virtual assistant company. And he probably was like, what in the world is going on? you know, but he always did his, I mean, not duty, but he always shows up and he always encourages me and he always sends very like thoughtful things to me to encourage me to always be my best. And that relationship is just like no other. Like I just love him so much. And I'm just so thankful for him. And there's plenty of other people in my life, but he definitely like stands out as, you know, the constant reminder that everything's possible, you know?
That's awesome.
I love
I love
that.
that too. That's amazing. Entrepreneurship is wild enough. And then when you, like you said, you start in a time when it's maybe not popular and still be able to have like a parent or a support system who might not understand it, but can still give you that encouragement. Like, yeah, that's pretty beautiful. Shout out to Daddy. That's great.
And I'm so glad you shared that too, because I feel you. I grew up in a family, 9 to 5, like just even the idea of starting a business is just, it was so foreign. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that, but it really does take that one person who's fully supportive and maybe exposes you to like, hey, this is what's possible. And it allows you to kind of be able to take that risk to say, okay, I'm going to try it because I know I have a support.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then what about you, Melanie?
So our friend Lindsay was a huge contributor and she was our cheerleader from the start. So she's always been amazing. And I mean, like Lauren said, we have countless, like our friends, family, other entrepreneurs that were just trying to help us get started off the ground, like so many people. More personally, like mine is more indirect, I guess, because like I have a mom that's very, you can do anything as a woman, like just take care of it and you're powerful kind of like, and also teaching me the values of like thinking of others and things like that I carry with me on a day-to-day basis. And I just look up to her strength that she's had over her life. And I really appreciate that. And then also like my dad was an entrepreneur as well. And he wasn't around when we started VaVa. He passed when I was 19, but I do feel like that was a driving force for me because it was life is short and like you just figure out what that means for you and like figure out where your happy is. Yeah. And I think that was a big driver for me too, to try all the different things and be open-minded and really, because I really wanted to feel fulfilled and live that life that felt good.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah. That's such a, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I think there's such a power in when we experience pain, what we can do with that, right? Like what that can open us to. And it sounds like it opened you to being open, right? Being open, trying things, finding what fulfills you and what makes you happy. And sometimes I think it's hard when we don't know if like what fulfills us and what makes us happy is something that we can actually do that will be sustainable. So I think it's really cool that you're naming that. I think there's a big part of what I'm hearing, and that's like be open, and it's almost like the doors and the pathways will open for you, and you'll kind of figure it out as you go. Yeah. What would you guys say has been just throughout this journey, because you guys have been in this for 11 years, what would you guys say has been some of the most, or maybe the most challenging aspect? And it could be different, right? You guys have different perspectives. So, Melanie, if you wouldn't mind starting, what would you say has been the most challenging throughout this journey? And what have you learned, I guess?
Oh my. Well, what first comes to my mind is just the learning process along the way, because I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, typically you didn't go to entrepreneur school or something like that was like, make sure to do these things and have this stuff planned out or that or whatever. And so it still is just figuring it out. And a lot of times, because the decisions fall on you, and thankfully we have two of us to work together on things, but the decision fatigue can set in, and it can be like, I don't know what the right path is forward, and it's scary to just try something. But the thing is like, we just did, and we've also learned that we will also figure it out if we have to pivot or change, or something wasn't right, we need to fix it or something like that. So it's just, I think, the stress of not having the answers readily available. And I think that's it's okay, but it can be really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. With it all being all you, just that pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more lessons we learn, the harder it is to make decisions.
Tell us about that.
It's just like, the longer you're in business, the more things you go through, the harder it is. That's why, like, I mean, full transparency, like, we're in decision fatigue about a lot of things right now, because that's just the nature of the business. But it's like, yeah, the more, it's like, I don't know, it's the more weight. We're young and fresh, and you know, and it was like, well, we'll do it, we'll figure it out. And now it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You think about all the things, and then it's like, okay, should we do that? Should we not do that? It carries a heavier weight. Should we like hold? Should we move? Like, it is wild how big, how much decision fatigue comes into business. So yeah, it's just an interesting world to be in. But we're not saying don't make the decisions. We're just saying, like, it does become a little bit more challenging. The other thing I was going to say was, we accomplished so much last year, and like, literally just recently took the time to celebrate it in a more meaningful way. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's real. I think a part of what I hear you say is like, the more success we have, it's almost like we kind of get wrapped up in it. We get wrapped up in what needs to be done, or what decisions need to be made, or what's next, that we do forget to pause, and we do forget to like celebrate the milestones along the way. And so I'm going to kind of lean this one into another question is, what lesson would you say you guys learned from that? Or like, what advice would you give someone?
Yeah, I would say, we'll pause and appreciate your wins. I touched on this before, but you know, a lot of times society tells you that you have to do things a certain way, and it's okay to go out of order. It's okay to create your own story. Because if I didn't do that, or we didn't do that, like, I'd be miserable. I'm sure I'd be miserable in a corporate job doing something that I didn't like doing. And honestly, like, I didn't even know this was possible. And I just feel so thankful to be in a role that I love, that I appreciate, that I like showing up for. And because we work so much in our whole life, like we just dedicate so much time to work. You have to at least like what you do. And for me, I love it. So it's a win-win, you know?
Yes.
Sounds like those things make the journey. I mean, you hear that's about the journey and not the destination. It's like, you're going to be on this journey for a minute. So like, you enjoy it, celebrate, you know, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know we heard what was challenging. We could start with Lauren this time. Like, what's kept you going through those challenging, in terms of what's been the most fulfilling? Like, in 11 years, you know, what keeps the energy and the fire in you? And Lauren, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, I love seeing entrepreneurs thrive. So the fact that like our services allow them to see wins every day is really, really fulfilling. Like, they get the support that they need, and it pushes them to the next, you know, level, or the next phase. And so for me, like, what's really fulfilling is just seeing them thrive, and seeing that we get to work with business owners doing some amazing, amazing things. Like, it's so phenomenal. And so that's really, you know, what fuels me, because I love to see business owners doing amazing things, thriving, doing good work, doing meaningful work. having a social impact, like that is what drives me. So, yeah, I don't see that ever changing. And so that's really, where my, where I like just thrive and what continues to fuel me for sure.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And then what about you, Melanie?
Yes, I'd say in addition to that, because I mean, going back to that, me realizing I wanted to build the life that I wanted and live that life that I wanted and almost have work revolve around life instead of life revolving around work kind of concept. Although I work a lot, but I love it. So it's like it's a good combination of work and life for me, outside of work, but also helping others do that as well, like Lauren is saying, but also on the internal side and having people provide that work. And in that sense, like our VAs and our social media managers and our internal account managers, et cetera, we're able to provide that space for them too, to provide the stuff that they love doing and in the space that works for their lives as well. And that feels really good too, because I know personally how hard it is to find something that feels good as far as work and fulfilling in the day to day. And if we can give that space to them as well, that just feels really good to be able to help.
I think that's awesome. You can hear so much of your personal philosophy into how you create value for businesses, like, living to not living to work. Am I getting that backwards?
No.
Yes. Balancing life and work. But your personal philosophy with that, you could tell it feeds a lot of how you create value for your businesses. And I think y'all are so amazing because the most important thing we have is our time. And sometimes we focus on saving money, but sometimes the wisdom is in spending well. And I found my personal life and my business, it's like so worth it to pay for the things that can get you time back. And like, I think that's awesome. Like just the virtual assistant work, and it very much ties to what y'all believe in personally, and it shows. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that point. That's great, Kira. Yeah.
There's also a part of what I'm hearing you guys say. There's an aspect of, we do spend so much of our time working.
Yeah.
Right. And if we don't enjoy what we're doing, that does bleed over into just our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it sounds like you guys really enjoy, there's a big service. There's a big service aspect that I see you guys saying, like, we love to serve the entrepreneurs that we work with. We love to serve the people that we work with. There's an aspect of that. It's like we're pouring out and that actually pours into us. It's almost like a cycle that kind of goes back and forth. What would you guys say is a value or something that that drives this service work for you guys?
I mean, for me personally, like serving is always kind of a part of my life. So, from a very young age, like, again, tying back to my father, like he taught us, why it's important to serve others and show up for others and how to do that and what to do. And so that's always been like just a big aspect of my life. Whether it's through like volunteering or, volunteering my time to different organizations or whatever it is. I mean, currently what drives my serving value. I don't know if that's like the right term is, I mean, I do, I serve every other week at like my local church, and I love that because I'm around people and I get to just like love on them and be there. I'm just a greeter at the door, but I look forward to it every other week. I love it. And so for me, it's not just showing up to do a job. It's literally like something that I love doing. So again, that ties back to our work. I love showing up because I love doing it.
Right.
And I love, like, I don't know. So that's where the tie happens for me personally.
Love that. How about for you, Melanie?
Mine comes back to supporting people being able to be themselves, I guess. I know we mentioned this before, but there's a lot of pressure, a lot of times to fit in a certain box or do things a certain way. And that can be very limiting to a lot of people because, if you're not sure or like that doesn't fit for you. And sometimes I personally thought that when I was going through that time in my 20s where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I felt lost and I felt sometimes embarrassed and ashamed that I didn't have this path. And
Yeah.
I was just trying to be me and learn what that meant, but also just be that in the moment. And it's hard to, when you don't have, like, there's not a lot of, when you don't have that's okay. And it's okay. And so I love that we in our space are able to try and send that message that that's okay. You want to start this business that does this really unique thing? Yeah, we're here for you. Mm-hmm. We want to help you make that happen and grow that. Or you want to be, have this flexible job schedule to be at home with your family or travel or whatever that might be. Yeah, we're here for that. We'll support that. And we'll offer the space for that. And so that hits home for me because that's what I was looking for. And I love being able to provide that as well.
Oh my God. If y'all haven't heard enough, y'all need to hire them. Okay. Can we just say that? Because my heart is just so warm right now. It's really awesome. You guys are like really creating a pathway and just opening doors for people and saying like, hey, we support you and we're here to serve you because we know the power of that. We know how beneficial that can be. It's like, go ahead, create your own path. We're here to support you along the way. I love it. I love it.
And conscious capitalism and things that you hear about nowadays where people really do care how they spend. Like you're two wonderful women who like embody what you serve. And I think that's wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. I have a question. So for people listening and they are looking to start their journey, do you all have like a more practical tool or skill that you're like, oh, make sure, I learned this a little late, but here maybe you should do this, this, and this. Anything like that you would share with anyone?
I don't know if this fits the bill, but I mean, you always talk about like finding your why. Mm-hmm. I do think that's very important because that really, like, if you realize and understand your why and you're doing something that's very aligned with you, like it makes it just natural to progress and move forward and make it happen. Yeah. And the purpose for you, but also the purpose you want to provide in the world. So that's not super clear always, but just coming back to that idea and like playing around with it and seeing what feels right. And it might change over time too, and that's okay. But I think that's helpful. Lauren and I discuss that all the time. Like, is this something that, is adjusting for us because of our growth or because of different services we want to offer, or are we still, on that same path?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's crucial.
I like that.
So it's going to get you through, I feel like, the rough patches when you have a strong why. And it's neat that you acknowledge that sometimes it could change and evolve. And of course, you all having a partnership, like staying in sync. But your why. Yeah.
Can I ask just like another like side question before we go to Lauren? In that, because it's one of those things, right, that I've heard as well, right? Like when we're talking about finding our why, can you share maybe like a personal way that you've discovered a part of your why or your why? Like just like a really tangible personal thing that you did that was helpful for you?
Therapy.
Love it. She's straight up.
That's awesome.
I I would also say like I'm very like self-reflective, especially as I get more like older. And even the stuff I talked about, like realizing like what my dad kind of brought to my life even now, like I didn't know that at first. It was chaotic, it was emotional. I
Yeah.
was just trying to like, see what stuck. But looking back, it was like that created my why of like feeling that fulfillment, I guess, for me. And then also like feeling like I needed to be a space where people could just be accepted for who they were and what they were going to be doing, no matter what that was, because I at times saw and felt how it was when you don't have that.
Mhm.
And I think it's really crucial to have that support.
I love. Thank you for answering that. She's just straight up therapy.
Yeah.
Self reflect. Get you some therapy. That is the best way to self reflect. So I appreciate that. Very tangible way to get to your why. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, we're both big fans of therapy. We've both been in therapy for years, and yeah, even changing that narrative is a whole beast, because a lot of times people just associate it with when things are wrong, I
Right.
need to go to therapy, or when things are bad, I need to go to therapy. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
99.9% of the people that live in this life need therapy on a regular basis. Or should have therapy on a regular basis, so
Yeah.
but I mean, to Melanie's point, like self-reflection, it just is, it's really helpful when determining what your purpose is in this world, and what fulfills you, and what story do you want to tell. And I mean, when we first started, like we had some support, but a lot of people were like, what are you doing, and when and why, and until we really like reached certain points, people just really didn't like respect what we were doing. And so yeah, it's just I think if you can really define what you're doing, and you can tell that story in a sense, and just be confident in the story that you want to tell, and the vision that you have for your life, can be really remarkable.
Oh, I like that.
I
Sure.
want to point out something you said, because both of you, when I speak, every time I've spoken to you, you both seem very grounded. And maybe that's who you are, maybe that's the therapy, but I think that's just a great attribute. And it's funny that you said, like, you'll have, when you're building something and you have your why, that does keep you like focused and grounded, because some people might not respect what you do. They might not believe it for themselves. And it takes you to get to 7-figure business and like, oh, I get it. But it's like the whole time you needed to stay on course. And I'm glad you like called that out, because it's not all roses. And I feel like, those things keep you grounded.
That
For
was
sure.
good. And I'm gonna do the same thing, Lauren. If you don't mind, I'm gonna do like a little mini question off of what you had shared. Discovering like what story you want to tell. I think that's really, really powerful. Can you share maybe one practical way that you personally or professionally figured out, okay, this is the story I want to tell?
Yeah, I mean, yes, for me, I'm a work in progress. When we first started, like, I mean, I guess not even when we first started. From a young age, I mean, I'm adopted. I'm also biracial. So my mother is my mother is Caucasian. My father is African American. But my adopted parents are Caucasian. And so traveling through my life, I was always constantly faced with identity like struggles, and to nobody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is at fault for this. And that's not the point. But the point is like, so I always was having to constantly do work to figure out my identity and who I was.
Yeah.
And like I said before, like I'm still a work in progress, even at 37 years old, you know, but it was always like top of mind because of what I've always experienced in my life. If that is, I don't know if that's like tangible, but like that's kind of why I am the way that I am, and what has shaped me and what has helped me to figure out what my story is and what I want to tell. So
I thank you for sharing that, because I think, and this is a part of what I hear from you sharing, that it's like recognizing, right, when we do that self-reflection, maybe we go into some therapy and we look at ourselves. Maybe there was a part that was recognizing, you know, I've struggled with trying to understand and identify my identity, right? And so a part of the story is I want to be the one who identifies who I am, right? Like I get to be the author of that. I get to be the author of saying this is my identity, which is so powerful. And I think that people listening to this, like just that what you shared is going to like just open up doors and like free people from ideas of what they're supposed to be or what they think they are based off of their life and their past experience, and knowing that like I get to tell the story of who I am. So seriously, thank you for that.
you're welcome.
And allowing some grace too, like to figure it out, like from the business side, from the personal side. That's like been a reoccurring theme that I've heard, just allowing some grace to navigate it, and you'll get there.
To be a work in
Definitely.
progress.
Yeah.
Let's be work in progress.
Exactly.
I love it.
Definitely.
Oh,
I know one of the last questions I like to ask, or we both like to ask, are about like lessons. Are there any like 1 to 3, however many, when you think of lessons learned over your 11 years or over your life that you think would be worth sharing? And we can kick it off with whoever thinks of one first, but what would you leave us?
It's up to you to create that story and leave that legacy. And so much of this life is a self journey. Like, you know, you have to, again, figure it out and work through the trials and tribulations and the celebrations and the pitfalls and all the things. And that can be a lot. It can be a lot, but I think that create the community around you that can, you know, kind of be that, go along that journey with you, but also like be that support system and lift you up when you're down and meet you where you're at and all the things. Like, I think community for me is so hugely important. I mean, it's a recurring theme in my life is just building that community of people, that I love and trust and want in my life. And, so yeah, I guess that's kind of a lesson, is to, keep those individuals, close and, really nurture those relationships and create that solid foundation for yourself and that solid community for yourself.
I love that. I heard a couple of things. I heard almost being empowered and owning your life.
Yeah.
And then the community piece, which I'm a testament. I thought I was going to be in Atlanta in and out 1.5 years, and here I am. And yeah, community changed my life. So I think those are great lessons. Thank you for sharing those.
Yeah.
And Melanie?
A big one for me is being open. And that also is like I like to challenge myself as well as embrace myself, I guess, in a way. So I try to, you know, make sure I'm living a life that's aligned for me. And like Lauren said, surrounded by the community that supports me and what's important to me and accepts me, and what we're doing as far as VaVa goes. But however, I also know that, not that I could be wrong, but also like, there could be a lot of different rights. And so like being open to that truth, because as humans, you know, we all have different experiences. We all have different stories of our, you know, that we're trying to define for ourselves or that we come from. And, you know, so there's a lot of ways to do things in general. And I think that's something also to be embraced, because, you know, if we work together, there's a lot that can be accomplished with all the different minds and what, you know, what we all can bring to the table. So, yeah, openness, I would say.
Yeah.
I like that. Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I do too.
Because I think what I heard too in that, I love how you said, I embrace myself as well as challenge myself, which is really, really cool. Because I think in that, sometimes we can get stuck in embracing myself means closing myself off to others, where it's like, no, I can embrace myself and be open to challenging myself to see the truths that other people also have. Right? Like that right there is powerful. And I'm going to just need everyone to sit with that. Because that's really, really, really awesome. Man, you ladies have shared some really amazing things with us. I want to stay here and like
Same.
ask more
Learn
questions.
new things about you both. So I thanks for sharing even more the personal side. It's awesome.
Yes. One question that we really like to ask at the very end is there a question that you wish we would have asked, and how would you answer it? And either of you can start.
Oh, is there a question we wish we would have asked? Oh, you have some really great questions. This has been amazing. I just need to put that out there. I also need to say these conversations are what like give me boost and energy, because these are like the deeper conversations that really like matter and like get to the heart of things. So this is great, ladies.
Appreciate it.
Back to another question. The only thing I can think of, well, I have two things that came to my mind, but I'll just say them. They're not super well-rounded. But I will say that good for you all. Like all the listeners, good for you. You know, like if you're listening to these ladies in the interviews, like, you know, it seems to be you're putting the time in for you and like exploring that and trying to figure that out. And like, I think that's great. Because it's like embracing yourself, and that's amazing. And we all can bring so much greatness to the world. And it just starts with exploring, and that's, you know, can be really a scary place to be, but it's where we really learn a lot. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know.
No, that's awesome.
I love it. Oh, I know everyone's going to be happy to hear that.
Yes, it's encouraging.
Oh, I should add too, there can be light here. There can be light during the process. It doesn't seem like it in the day-to-day sometimes, but I look back on my time and I'm like, I lived in LA. I did this, and I had all these experiences, and I'm like, I would not trade that for the world. It was stressful, but it made me who I am today. And I love it. I love that time in my life. And I always love my times in my life for different reasons. And so, there's light at all times. Maybe I should say that.
It's really, really, really powerful. Yes. Snaps for me.
Yeah.
Really, really powerful. It really is. Because, I mean, destination disease is a thing. Obviously, times can just be hard, but just kind of reminding people to step back and be like, this, you know, I love this about now, or finding that thing. I think that's a beautiful perspective. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Good.
I love that. It's good to sit back and just reflect and, you know, the things. I don't have a question. I just had a thought, is like, there's so many upon thousands of ways to create a remarkable life for yourself, you know? And so what's remarkable for you may not be remarkable for the next person, but it's remarkable for you, and like really bask in that, and like, again, create the life that you want to live, you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm ready to just like restart everything. So I'm just like,
That's beautiful minds, beautiful people. Like, I'm not surprised that success has found you and you have found success. And I'm sure not without hard times, but it's just a testament to who you two are. And it's awesome.
Seriously, you guys have been so amazing. Like, my energy is up right now because of everything that you guys have shared. There's so much in your life is remarkable as is, right? So don't discount it just because it doesn't look like someone else's. There's light where you are. Oh my gosh, so much, so many good things. Before I go off, let me just ask you guys, if people want to stay connected with you and shower you with some love, where can we send them?
Yeah, so we're both on LinkedIn under our names. And we our company website is VaVaVirtual.com, and there is an email that goes directly to both of us, which is info@VaVaVirtual.com. Always happy to connect with anyone that's interested to talk to us or ask us questions. Reach out. We are always happy to help and support however we can.
Awesome. And I want to plug, y'all built a 7-figure business, and you have an ebook coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Please.
Yeah, it's literally 11 years in the making. But we are so excited, and it's coming out on the 16th of November and 2022. And we're just really, really thrilled. And like the response from it has been awesome. Like, I can't wait to do another one. And yeah, it talks about all our journeys, all the lessons, all the fun stuff that we've, done, all the just real practical advice for, people that are building a company and showing them what's possible. So yeah, we're really thrilled about it and can't wait.
Awesome.
Coming up.
Yeah, we will be sure to link all of that and make sure that people can find that by the time this airs. I'm excited.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yes, we're having the launch party on the 16th, and there's a link. You can also find our Instagram bio, at VaVa Virtual. A self-funded journey to growing a 7-figure business. So, yes. I'm very excited.
I cannot wait to read it, but we'll definitely link it all. But that's awesome. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your story personally and professionally. I know that people are going to be blessed by listening to this, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Love
you
you
so much. Love you guys. Thank you.